Hi, guys. Welcome to our first episode of season 2, we're going to call this, because we took a little hiatus in the summer, as most people do. Try and act like you work through the summer. And so, anyways, we're doing the first episode from our balcony, which is kind of exciting because the weather is so nice and I don't really want to put it to waste. So, new guest today. His name is Chris.
Hi.
Here he is. His name is Chris Hayes. Chris is our first same-sex relationship expert, I want to call him.
I don't know if I would say expert,
I
but
was looking for a term to use to introduce you.
uh-huh.
When I say expert, though, I kind of feel like we're all sort of experts when we're doing it.
Yeah.
When we're dating in this kind of, like at this time, because it's so fucking different from when we were young,
Sure.
that you have to be an expert to try and navigate your way kind of through it.
All right then.
Plus, I've only had heterosexual guests. So I have many questions. Mostly because if you guys didn't know this, which I think almost all of you would, to my knowledge, Grindr, which is a swiping app, was like the original gangster of swiping apps. It came out about I would say almost 2 years before Tinder, which most of you think is like the most popular, mostly used one, whatever, most dominant. There are so many now, but like
when you say swiping, do you mean like the actual
I mean, like
left?
going through profiles. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like you swipe left or right. That's kind of just how we came up with the show, because every app involves you like going through someone's profile and either like messaging, connecting, or not messaging. But you told me recently that gay.com was before apps.
Yeah, it's
But
gay,
also-
gay.com was not an app. It was long
Website.
before that was a thing. Yeah, but it was a very
Like a relationship hookup thing?
Yeah.
Relationships or hookups?
I think potentially either, but hookups, I would say. Primarily,
internet,
if I'm
like-
to be honest. It was for like trolling for D on the internet.
Yeah,
Yep.
naturally.
Yep.
And I've also been, of my buddies that are still on Grindr now and have been using it for years. It's like they originally started using it because it was so easy to hook up. It was so easy to connect with other guys and meet up really quickly and whatever.
Yes.
None of them were actually looking for relationships.
Yeah.
Does that happen now?
Yep. I would say that is still Grindr's primary purpose.
So you're a user?
I have Grindr. Yep.
We talk about it like it's a drug.
Yep.
Like a user,
Yeah.
non-user. Like
Yep.
I'm addicted. I'm
Yeah.
off of it for a while.
I go through bouts
Yeah.
of yep.
Are you like a... Okay, well, I guess like start off from the beginning. Brief dating history. Have you been actively dating for a long time? Are you a long-term relationship kind of guy?
Not at all.
Okay.
I've never really had my longest relationship is maybe 4 months.
Okay.
4 months. So never really been my forte. But I also didn't I didn't date a lot for quite a long time, and it's only something that I've started to do more lately. So I'm actually sort of new to
What
apps
made you
and
decide to start doing it? Like, why now and not 5 years ago?
I guess I had sort of randomly, I had a couple of really great dating experiences that
So
we've left my Grindr on.
we left Grindr on purpose on Chris's phone,
Yeah.
just to see like what kind of activity tends to come from just being present on the app. And we're like taking an hour. I'm taking an hour out of your life, and
Yeah.
like the did-it-is.
Yeah.
They're
Little
piling in,
jolt
folks.
of excitement.
They are piling in.
Um,
So you had a few good experiences?
yeah. I would say dating was just not like a huge priority for me for a long time, and I didn't date a ton. And I never used dating apps.
I should mention, your job takes you traveling quite a bit, no? You're kind of all over, like you be in different cities for months at a time. Chris is in, how do you describe what it is that you do? You're an actor and director.
Yeah, I'm an actor, and I produce theater and started doing short films and web series and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't.
That wasn't a factor in like, do I want to hunker down with someone, or
No.
do I want to be free to just discover what it is
No.
I feel like discovering?
No, that wasn't a factor at all.
Okay.
But I've always, I would say, been very independent, and I'm like a kind of a bossy A-type, sort of stuck in my ways. So compromising for a relationship has never been like the easiest thing for me.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm quick to swipe left.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, like those socks? No.
Yeah, which is very common.
Yeah. So, but I guess just to sum it up, I would say that, in the last like couple of years, I've had some great experiences meeting people through dating, and just, some good that made me sort of want more of that in my life. Yeah. So I got the apps, took to them, and it's been good. It's been
is it fun?
Good. Yeah, it is fun.
I had some pretty fun experiences.
Yeah, it is fun.
We've had there's a lot of negatives surrounding all of it at the same time. I think people get really frustrated. They expect instantaneous results.
Yeah.
Because you're easily accessing people, but you automatically think that they want the same thing that you want. This is coming from girlfriends of mine too.
I was going to say, are we talking about who are we talking about here? Yeah.
It could go either way. Like I had one of our last guests came on, and he's ready to meet someone and start a family. Like, it's really rare that I have someone come on being like, yeah, I'm ready to have kids. Who's ready? Especially a male.
Yeah.
Who's like, and I was like, oh, okay. So when you're on, do you divulge this information off the bat, or are you like, hey, just casual, whatever?
I mean, that specifically doesn't come up a ton on Grindr.
I did ask you before we sat down to do this, if you had any like traumatic past dating experiences that might have tainted your views on getting into it now.
No, actually. And no, my dating experiences have been all quite positive for the most part. Yeah. And I think maybe that's partly because I vet people pretty, not intensely, but I do some vetting before I sort of get into it. So I don't, so generally I sort of have a sense of the kind of person that I'm going on a date with before I go on a date with them. And
you're just going with the flow. Nothing's made you be like, nope, I know for sure. Like,
no,
my ex did that and I don't want that again. And like, what if that guy's like that?
No,
like,
I don't come with any of that baggage.
No baggage.
Gentlemen.
No.
So.
No baggage. Unheard of.
No, I mean, we all have baggage, I'm sure. But no, and my experiences just recently dating on Grindr or OkCupid.
Yes.
Which is my other dating, my sort of more respectable
I have more than a few friends who are on OkCupid as well.
Yeah.
And it's an underrated one, I think. I don't think a lot of people know that it's really like the Tinder and Bumble thing and Grindr. Those are like, they've been predominantly discussed and they're advertised across the board on Instagram and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
That people seem to think like they gravitate towards that one going, well, that's what everyone's doing, right? So that's what I need to be doing. Personally, I think that I would want to be on an app that fewer people are on if I'm looking for a relationship. Would you not? Or would you want to go to like a bigger population? Like for Grindr for you. You could meet a guy like in an hour if you wanted. What's your process of like...
Less than that.
What's your... Sorry.
Okay. They could
10
be,
minutes,
tell you they're
whatever,
30 feet away.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
What's your screening process?
Well, so I mean, the thing that I like about OkCupid is people, well, not everybody, but a lot of people put some time into their profile, and you can, check it out and read
a little bit more before you make that decision.
Yeah. And I can tell a number of things. Maybe it's because I'm shallow. I don't know. Like right off the bat, that like things that I'm like, no, I'm not.
I don't like it. Yeah. Don't like what you're wearing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stand up a lot.
Yeah. Or no, please. But you don't really know. I'm pretty open. If somebody messages me, no, that's not true. I don't. I don't respond to everyone who messages me at all.
You ghost people? Do you ever?
Is that
ghosting would be like talking for a bit and then just never answering again one day, being like, nope. But instead of being like, hey, I'm just not like that into you because you've been talking, you just literally disappear.
Well, I guess yes, because I don't have those apps on all the time, and sometimes I will go weeks without turning on one of those apps. So sometimes it's just like I've been out, I've had some drinks, and I'm home, and I have it's like not time to go to bed yet, and I'll just like fire up the app and see who's around, and like and I'll chat with people and
Do you agree that it's a timing thing? That like matching up with
for
someone, whether it's a date or multiple dates or chatting or anything, is like really just
because
at that time.
Because I'm not always. I go through fate when I'm down to like go on a lot of dates and meet a lot of people, and there are times when I'm just not. Like I'm just not. That's not what I'm focused on.
So no matter who's messaging you at the time, you're like, nah, like they're not going to really get through.
Yeah, unless they're like really top shelf.
So, quick question.
Uh-huh.
What kind of display pictures do you have?
So
for you, and then I want to know which ones make you say yes to somebody else's.
So OkCupid, they're pretty congenial. They're pretty flattering. Well, they're just
Are they waist up? Do you have some full body?
Yeah, everything. I have.
Would you have group shots?
I don't have group shots.
Because we did talk about that, being like, don't put your friends in your photos.
Yeah,
like, it is just you. But some people feel better when they're in a group shot.
Yeah, to sort of create the. Let people know that you like to socialize and people,
I have friends.
People like
There's
you.
A picture.
Not living in a bomb shelter, just like
hi, just one headshot, two headshots. Yeah, you're like there has to be more to it.
Yeah, I don't use headshots.
Okay,
because I find it's
you have actual headshots.
Yeah. I find it's too. I'm an actor.
Do you list that you're an actor on your profile?
On OkCupid, yes.
You do.
Yeah. I sort of describe myself as a general creative. And, that's.
Is it actor/model? I've had that before.
No.
Where you're like, oh, initially I'm like, oh, he's really good looking, and like, of course he is. He's an actor/model.
Yeah.
And right away, my brain goes to being like, I mean, does he love him more than he loves anybody else? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah.
Describing you as a creative soul would be a much more enticing. Description.
Yeah. So no, not actor/model, and no like modelly. Overly posed shots. So my main one is it's like quite flattering. It was like someone took it of me like in LA, and I'm like looking out over the canyons.
Beautiful. You explore.
Yeah. There's a nice filter on it. It looks good. And then you scroll through them a bit, and there's there's like one of me at a party, kind of like making a funny. I don't know. They're
describing you like in a few different kind of ways from a photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, I guess, the intent. But some guys are more like, okay, I want to put one without a shirt on, like with no shirt on. That happens too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have those photos. Okay. I don't, even my Grindr profile though is not like that. It's just sort of my face. And I haven't even, actually, I was in Montreal Pride for Pride a couple weeks ago with a bunch of friends. And one of them was like looking at my Grindr. He was like, what the fuck is up with this Grindr?
Really?
Yeah. He was like,
what was he criticizing
about he was just like, it's
not like enticing. You're not like luring.
But my thought is, so I'm generally on Grindr. I'm not going to say that I've never like used it to hook up with somebody. But
I don't think that's a secret.
No,
that's it's like a useful tool for such a thing.
Yeah. But I generally, need to kind of like have a drink with someone before I'm ready to like,
see ya. Later.
Yeah.
Which is not the same for everyone.
Yeah.
But it does freak me out
not
when
at
some
all.
people are like, I mean, we don't even really need to talk. And I'm like, maybe we should talk.
Yeah. Oh, no. I know like tons of people that
are okay with that. Otherwise.
Love that. But that's just not really my thing. Like, because I kind of need to know that I don't think somebody's annoying or a douchebag to be attracted to them.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. Call me really old fashioned.
I have a few standards, and one of them is not annoying and not a douchebag.
Yeah. So I purposely don't make my Grindr profile too DTF because
that's not the vibe you want to give off immediately, right?
No, and I also like showing up to a date and the person being like, "Oh, like I like being better looking in person than
in your photos." Yeah, duh.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
One of the best reviews when someone comes to you and is like, "So I met up with this girl and she was so much cuter than I thought she was going to be when she showed up."
Yeah. So it's not a bad pick, my Grindr profile, but it is not like the most flattering. It's just, like me on a beach, like not shirtless, even just like without my hair done.
Yeah.
Yeah. My friend was like, you didn't even, like, your hair is not even, doesn't look good in this. And I was like,
okay, but then you can meet me in person. That means if they love your photos there, meeting you in person is always going to be a.
Yeah. And I think I give off a bit more of a cute vibe in my Grindr photo. So, but which some people obviously, some people respond to that with just as many dick pics and asshole shots as anything else. Yep.
Thanks so much for showing me your naked body before I've seen you in person.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like until we've exchanged a few pleasantries, like a few.
Where are you from?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't need to know your name before that, but.
So a few like exchange texts just about yourself that I know you're not like a serial murderer.
Yeah. But it depends on the evening and what, because different days I'm looking for different things, and sometimes I'm more down for that kind of thing than others. But most of the time
it's that way.
I'm a little bit more of a lady. A little bit.
Well, that's actually hilarious that you say I'm a little bit more of a lady. We're leading into later, but actually we can do it now.
Uh-huh.
I was reading an article published by Huffington Post online, and they listed a top 10 sort of male gay stereotypes that I think either they don't like. I find it's critical towards gay men. Like, it doesn't make them, it doesn't make you seem more respectable or anything in any way. But some of them, you can imagine stereotypes come from a certain place.
Of course. Yeah.
And the first one that I read that was like, this is so common. Like, there are way too many people. The two gay men in a relationship, most people assume one of you is the female and the other one is the male.
Oh, well, that's
true or false?
Well, that is, I would never, ever put it that way, because nobody is...
Why does it have to be? First of all, you're both men.
Yeah.
But there are way too many people that are like, okay, so one of you takes this role and then the other one takes the other role. It's the same thing for my lesbian friends. Like, they get the same thing all the time where they're like, oh, so is one of you more male dominant and the other one is more like feminine and whatever. And I was like, this is so...
Well...
I don't know if that comes from like... your personality types that match up. Like, I don't know. So
it's not that there aren't things about that are true, but I would say like calling it one's the man and one's the woman is like a huge misnomer.
Like,
and also has other like troubling implications of, I don't know, like, because
So one of you is the girl and one of you is the guy.
Well,
is what too many like naive people would tend to say.
Yeah, and I find that and the reason why I don't like that is because I find people say like, oh, you're the girl, you're the woman in this relationship. You're it's a bit demeaning.
Of course.
But the reason why it's demeaning.
But I'm like, why? Sometimes the women can be more dominant. Like, I don't get it.
Well, so just to get like really political for a sec, I'd say that is like internalized misogyny. That it's true that people are like, you're less than because you're the womanly one. You're the, like, or the submissive
that's funny,
one.
Most of the relationships that like the heterosexual relationships my friends are in, the woman's more dominant, like almost always.
Yeah.
And when you're looking for a suitor, I like to call them suitors. Mm-hmm. Are you interested in being with someone who's more like you, or someone who complements your?
I would say complements
in a different way.
Yeah.
That your personalities are different, right?
Oh God, I couldn't imagine. I could never date someone just like me.
Like me, I'm such an asshole.
Yeah. It would just be so. Like, it would be dark. Yeah.
Or because often people are like, well, we're best friends. That's why we're dating. We're so much alike.
Yeah, and like twinning in gay couples is also a thing. That's like, oh yeah, there's a whole like Tumblr of like gay couples that like look and dress exactly the same, and
that'd be really funny, actually.
Yeah,
but you're also like,
yeah, I find
okay, guys,
it's,
like,
I mean, whatever. Like, whoever, there's more to appearance than, more than appearance to who you want to be with. But I would say that there is, at least in my experience, that there is, and it changes from person to person, but there is sort of a dynamic of someone is more submissive and somebody, I mean, if we're talking sexually,
sure,
that is for sure a
that
thing.
It comes into play there.
For sure.
All the time. Like in most cases, I would say. Well, I guess obviously. Or have you ever met someone who's exactly like you in that sense and you're like, oh, this isn't going to work?
I would say in like 90% of my experience that just based on how the two personalities interact, you fall into one of those roles.
Right.
And it changes. It's not, and some people always want to be, some people always want to bottom or always want to top or always want to be.
Do personalities match that choice?
Not always. Sometimes it's surprising. Sometimes
I have been shocked by a few friends of mine where I was like, you are? And he's like, well, yeah, always. And I would never have obviously assumed.
Yeah, it's always the like really Nelly tops that like throw you. You're just like, really? I
did not take you for that. Like,
yeah, but
that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's and I don't know. Somebody once told me that, I don't know if this is true, but that a lot of drag queens are tops, which seems sort of counterintuitive. But
statistically speaking, they obviously would like, judging by, I guess.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've never hooked up with a drag queen.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but
have you asked?
Yeah, but so who knows? But I would say to that no, it can be very surprising, and it's not always. Sometimes it is what you would think, but not always.
Assumption number 2.
Hit me.
All gay men love to hit on straight guys.
No, that's also false. That's also, I mean, I certainly have no interest in hitting on a person that like has zero receptiveness to it.
Well, because you're like, what is the point?
Straight guys that like play into it, of which there are many nowadays.
Many.
Many is a double-edged sword, but
a girlfriend of mine once, obviously when we were like, in our mid to early 20s, early to mid 20s. Yeah, I guess. She was pretty much frustrated. She had come out of a long-term relationship and she was like, he was such a dick, whatever. I'm just going to like take a break from that. And she started working at a restaurant and she met a woman. And this girl was, or claimed that she was only attracted to straight women. And my girlfriend, of course, who was unknown, like, was receptive to her come-ons. Mm-hmm. And it like had her in this place where she was like, I think I'm going to be with a woman for a bit. Yeah. And I was like, okay, but this girl, like, is she only, like, why is she into you when you only date guys? And she was like, I don't know. She just told me that she's attracted to other women who are attracted to men, but obviously, and I was like, well, for this reason, you've taken to it, and she is getting what she wants. So like, it's not that it doesn't happen. Because I was like, wow,
I know a lot of lesbians who are extremely successful that way.
And I didn't know if that was like this is common, or, she met you, she loved you as a person, you're a hot girl, and she just wanted to see if she could like test the waters. I don't know.
I would say women in general
are more open to the experimenting thing. Yeah. In that sense. But let's say you're out and there's, someone brings a couple of their buddies and they're really hot and really fun and really outgoing and really cool and everything, let's say, that you would be looking for in a man. But you knew that he dated women, but he wasn't dating a woman at the time. Would you hesitate to see where he's at? Or would you just immediately say, like, well, no, that's not.
No, I mean, if I got a vibe from him, that would be one thing.
Where you're like, oh,
yeah. If I get a vibe, and I've, like when I was younger and not dating very many gay men, I was because I was like always like crushing on straight guys. You know what I mean? Because mostly because I didn't have a lot of gay friends for a long time, and I had a lot of straight friends. I was like, well, somebody's got to take this sexual frustration.
He's cute, and I've known you forever, and you're really cute, and like,
and I So, but
is it a
but
challenge?
It depends.
Do any gay men consider it a challenge?
I would think some. That's not for me. Being like, oh, I'm gonna get you. You're gonna
watch me confuse you yourself. Like, watch me get you thinking about what you really are.
Yeah. But I think
not
some
so
guys,
much. Yeah.
Some guys maybe, but I would say, I would say generally, if people are not getting vibes back from a person, they're not going to continue.
They're not going to
pursuing it. Yeah.
Especially, obviously, that's where you're at.
Yeah.
Gay men are all wild sex maniacs who are incapable of monogamy.
True.
You can never love anyone ever.
No, no, not true. But
I do realize, which I find this to be quite ridiculous, this assumption or this stereotype, because so many people, straight or gay, are incapable of monogamy. Like, this is not a gay thing. This is not. No, yes, I do agree that, like, of my lesbian girlfriends, they have been likely, I think, more active when they were single, when they wanted to be single. So it was really just having fun, doing whatever they wanted, no commitment, nothing invested, no emotions invested. They were just like her, or whatever, then maybe her, then maybe her. Like, it was all just like fun and games. But now my friends are getting married, and all of them are getting married.
Mm-hmm.
So I read this going like, what is it? Because Grindr's known as a hookup thing, that anyone who joins Grindr is not into a relationship? I don't think so.
No,
it's not because people are like...
definitely not true, because I can tell you for fact that people on Grindr, some are interested in relationships. And
have you met anyone that has told you he is? Like, do they ask you when you connect with a guy? Do you discuss what you're looking for in that sense? Is it like
there can be a lot of that prior to meeting, being like, what are you looking for? What do you want here for? What are you into?
Yeah.
I generally don't lead with those questions, really, because I just...
What do you lead with?
I mean, I mostly just want to see if somebody has like a sense of humor that I can jive with. That, to me, like, just having a decent personality, because I'm not on those apps looking for a relationship. I'm not opposed to that if he is, and it happens to naturally
if
that can happen
progress
organically. But I'm never like I am looking to settle down. I am,
and if you are not,
but I'm also never like, I want you to come over here and like, play, I don't know how explicit I can be on this.
You can be as what did you say? Here's a picture of my asshole. Do you want to come over now or in 5 minutes? And you're like, oh,
yeah.
I was going to ask you where you were from.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
I love it. Yeah, some people just open with a nice clear shot of the asshole.
And they're like, like it? Question mark? Or just question mark?
Like? Mm,
like?
Yeah.
Did you heart it?
Yeah.
Does it make you swipe right on it?
But so, there are people using those apps for all sorts of things, and all of them, Grindr included.
Just
yeah.
Those are the ones that stood out to me that I found to be actually the most ridiculous. Gay men are all feminine. Stop with that. It's brutal. I was like, do you know how? I'm not going to even say that.
Just tell me.
I can't handle the Broadway, the assumption that did you want to go shopping? And should we go to a Broadway show? Because that's probably what you want to do, right? Yeah. And I'm like, why? I just find it quite ridiculous to read an article and go all these assumptions actually can be, or these stereotypes can be applied to obviously heterosexual people as well. I
know, but I do want to say too, though, that yes, it's not good to sort of generalize people, but I think it's also good. I also don't think that we should stigmatize that kind of behavior. Because lots of people do want to go shopping and go, fuck, I love a fucking Broadway show. Are you kidding me? I love it. And I love to,
But I'm just like, you understand there's a whole other aspect to anyone's personality. There's so many other important
yes
morals and values and anything that comes from somebody that like, I'm just like,
yes.
Okay, maybe we should be thinking about like deeper things here, but deeper things can scare people away. Yeah. Which some of my girlfriends are hesitant to be honest, fully honest. They're worried about how it will be received on the other end. And what I think is kind of ridiculous is I've tried to just tell, or like the way that I've approached it, which I think you're saying that you do as well, is that like, what if I don't like you?
Yeah.
What if I go in and I sit down and like, I don't like you?
Oh,
hello.
That's not Grindr.
Oh, okay. Just, it's like Grindr, regular text message.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how come it's not like when you go into it and you sit down, are you like, hey, I want to see if I like this guy, not I hope this guy likes me?
Yeah. I mean, not even, I just want to have like a good time on a date. I just want to see if I can have like a pleasant evening with this person. If it leads to romance, great. If it leads to sex, hopefully that will be good.
Great.
But you never fucking know.
I know. My God.
Sometimes it's so.
Are you a 3-strike kind of guy? I used to be on the 3-strike train, and if it goes to like a second encounter and it's still not good, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can.
You mean sex?
Sure, and all of the above.
Let's just go there, honey. Let's just go there.
A three-strike encounter, like
no,
because the first time with someone can always be can be awkward when you don't know how the other person, what they like, what they don't like, in that sense.
Sure.
So I give the first time like okay, this could be weird, and then we're more comfortable. But like if it's,
I'm not like that.
You're like,
I feel like it's pretty.
Like it either is or it isn't.
Yeah, and you can tell quick. So
have you ever had to tell someone after that he thinks it was amazing and you didn't? And you're like, oh my God.
No. Okay, so I will. So this will be like my one great anecdote.
It wasn't good.
So this is just a story that I'm going to tell. So on my birthday last year, I had been talking to a gentleman on Grindr, and as it turned out, we were like maybe setting up a date, whatever. And he was like, what about this night? And I was like, actually, that night is my birthday. And I'm going out with like a bunch of friends and stuff. And it just coincidentally later he was asking because he was new to the neighborhood. And he was like, I'm going out with a friend of mine on this night. Like, where should we go? And I was like, I gave a bunch of suggestions that weren't the place that I was having, because I was like, this is not the right time to meet
all of my friends and me and anything like.
But as it turned out, that's where he ended up going.
Okay.
So he was there, and I talked to him for, I don't know, maybe like 20 minutes, half an hour, and it was nice. He was, it was nice. He's good looking.
Did you have to introduce him to all your friends?
No, I was like, excuse me, there's somebody that I've like been speaking to online who's sitting across the bar, and I'm just going to go like
and say hi.
Like, I'm a regular person. And so that was fine. And
was he like, oh, hi, like shocked to see you? Or was he like...
No, I think he knew that. I think we had established that we were both going to be there. And he was like, oh, maybe I'll go somewhere else. And I was like, don't worry about it. Yeah. Anyways, so I went over, we talked for a bit. And then he was like, hey, me and my friend are going somewhere else. And I was like, cool, great to meet you. Maybe I'll message you later.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was my birthday. And I did.
Yeah.
And I ended up like going over to his place that night, and I was extremely hammered, so it was like
it's my birthday.
Not the most. I don't have tons of clear memories about it.
Your personality was out in full force.
Yeah. But we had I seem to remember we had a nice time, and it was fine.
Yeah.
So then we talked a little while after, and I was like, okay, and we were talking more, and it took about 2 weeks for us to like set up another date.
Oh.
And we went on a date, and we went out for drinks. We got some food. It was okay. I was like, personality-wise, I was like, it was okay. It wasn't. I'm a big talker, so if things aren't,
you'll just fill the space.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
whatever.
and I'll just,
go on.
Yeah, and I can feel like I can make most people pretty comfortable, and anyway, so it was all right. And after we'd had some drinks, I was like, we already hooked up on my birthday, so I'm just gonna like go, and I'm gonna go to his place.
Yeah.
And then, so what I apparently didn't remember from the night of my birthday was that he was like a horrible, horrible kisser. Just,
oh no.
It was so shocking. It was like
the most horror, like to the point where you're like, I can't, we can't continue.
Yeah. It was like a firm, like tongue implant. And then it was just swirl, 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 swirl.
Like a robotic.
Yeah. And
weird.
I just remember like my eyes flying open and being like, what the and let me tell you, I was out the door in under a minute.
Stop.
Out the door. I was just like...
So before even the hookup, because obviously did you start with kissing and then you were like, I can't...
Yeah, no, it didn't get any... It didn't get any further than that because I was like, I can't fake my way through this. Like, I can't...
How would you? Was he like, what's wrong?
Well, it did. I mean, he was... no, because I didn't give him any time.
Like, I really don't feel well. I really need to go.
I just said, I have to go. And he was like, oh. And I was like... I have to go. And I was out the door in a minute. I just didn't know what else to do. And
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know like the first. Has it ever happened where like all the stars have aligned with a person in meeting them, and then when it came to like the sexual chemistry, it's just completely off? Where you didn't anticipate it because everything else jived so well? That you're like, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder, like, because I have heard before, like, the approach where some people are like, I'd rather test those waters out soon.
Yeah.
To see if, like, that's even there.
Yeah.
And the rest of the personality stuff we can figure out, like, as we go.
Yeah.
But, like, I know I'm not going to keep dating someone if we don't have like that impeccable sexual chemistry.
And you know what? And I've dated people that I did not have great sexual chemistry with that I'm...
Did you hope that it was going to get better? Because everything was great? Like because he's a great person, he's so cute, he's so nice, like we get along so well, it can't possibly be...
No, you know what? Yeah, actually, you know what? Yes. Actually, 100%. Because, yes, I have had that where the first time was not great, but
and you're like, it will definitely
but other times it's just, we both just been like, love hanging out. This isn't a thing. And, you know, some people like that I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
You know, that we tried dating and it, that part of it just wasn't there, but... love the person and we can be buddies, no problem, but we just can both mutually agree that
that's not right on.
Yeah.
And that's a really good feeling. I wish that happened more often, that people could just be honest about it and be like, to be able to even remain friends. Like I know, sure, a lot of my girlfriends are like, I don't need any more friends. Like I'm looking for somebody and that's it. Okay, great.
Yeah, see, I don't have that
but I would much rather be like,
fuck,
meeting new people is...
Yeah, I'm like, now I'm just like, all I want are more gay friends. I'm just like...
It's so fun having so many great friends just to have so much fun with.
Yeah, and you know, and like me personally, for a long time, I didn't have that. I didn't really feel like I had a bunch of gay friends or so much a part of the gay community.
Yeah.
And now that I'm older, I have that more and I love it. And I'm so...
Did you not
grateful
develop that part of your life before because you didn't feel like you needed to? Or have you just recently started organically just expanding?
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I think, I think... Like I've been out as long as you've known me, which has been a pretty long time now. And so I was out for a long time. But even when I was out in my 20s, I still had a lot of issues and like anxieties about being gay.
Right.
And I think it stopped me from dating more. It stopped me from having sex more. It stopped me from finding other gay people to become friends with. I was so concerned for so long with like being accepted by straight people that I didn't put any... That's where all of my energy was going, not into...
developing that part, diving into like exploring that kind of...
I was like, I shouldn't have to do that. I was like, I shouldn't have to
like everything's
hang out with only gay people. And little did I know that I was cutting myself off to...
Well, you're selling it short at that point because When you moved, Chris and I are both from Montreal.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Not to say that Toronto isn't great.
Love
Toronto is great.
Yeah.
Since I think we can both say that since we've moved here, we love living here.
Yeah.
This city has a great community that I think is it takes up a big part of our downtown, which can feel so huge.
A gay community.
Our Toronto's gay community, I think, is like, and I find it to be
queer community, LGBTQ community.
Like maybe the best area of the city that I've lived in, not to say Leslieville now isn't amazing. It is. Love it here. But my first apartment in Toronto was at Church and College, pretty much.
Yeah.
Church and Carleton,
Super
like
fun.
that. And I had a couple of friends that had just come out, and I just was like, well, why don't we go out in my hood? And from there, it was like they were nervous because they didn't have a huge group of gay friends. So they were just like, well, is everyone going to be looking at me? Like, I don't know anyone. I don't know how, like, and I was like, no. And since then, obviously they're
have blossomed.
Yeah. And it's like, when you move to Toronto, like, did it help that we have such a positive, welcoming part of our city that's huge, and like everyone's amazing. Like, I love everyone in our city.
Well, but Montreal has an incredible.
Yeah, I'm not really too
the scene there is incredible. It's the village in Montreal is so fun.
Like when you go back for Pride every year.
This is actually the first time that I'm like the worst with Pride. Normally, I don't even like,
because our city celebrates through and through.
Oh yeah, and I don't go clubbing a lot anymore. I don't go to clubs a ton. I should, because I love to dance. I love to dance. I love to find myself one of those like raised booty box podiums and just like
being like, I'm just going to be up over there.
Yeah.
If you need me, I'll be elevated dancing Electric Circus.
Yes.
Remember Electric Circus?
Do I ever? My
Friday
dancing
nights.
style tends to be a lot more hip and like less arm flailing than Electric Circus.
Fair.
But I don't know. I'm like 34 now. I fucking want to go to bed at like 11. Sorry. So I don't go out as much, but Montreal has a great scene for that too. I lived in New York for 3 years, also has an incredible scene.
Yeah.
But I just never got into it that much.
Recently you have, or recently you're like,
yeah, I mean,
your friend population is rather growing, I'm sure. You're meeting, and like you said, if you meet someone, it doesn't work out that way. Like, you end up staying friends with them. Before we wrap the episode, we usually ask one question at the end of it, or I do. What is your swipe type? So I haven't asked you yet.
Okay.
When you're looking, other than, I like his haircut is really cute in this photo. Like, there's got to be some other aspects when you're doing it now before you decide to go on a date with someone, or even reach out to say, hey, what is your top 3 to filter through that makes it a yay or nay?
I mean,
are you just like, because I imagine you see some of the same things, like especially on Tinder and Bumble, and like even Happen. Like, I don't know about OkCupid because I don't have any experience with it, but it's like I go through 50 profiles of the same 5 types of photos that the guy posts, and when I land on something different, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I like someone to stand out for sure. I mean, I of course have like my certain, requisites of just good looks. You know what I mean? Like, for sure.
Obviously, that's the initial attraction.
Yeah,
we're going on based on photos.
Yeah. But
is it like, if he has a funny line, like I have a girlfriend who says like she's into the humor thing. Like, she just wants to know that she's going to laugh. She knows that's really important for her. She wants him to be funny for sure. And sometimes guys can write profile, like a paragraph that describes them. That's great because you get some information quickly. And some of them just have one quirky line that makes her always swipe right.
Yeah. I mean, basically, if I think you're cute and I don't go like, ugh, while reading your profile, you've got a shot.
What?
You've got a fucking shot, and a good one.
What makes you go, ugh? Any example?
Yeah, like some people are fucking like so pretentious. And it's somebody I forget what he was like, proletariat in the sheet and Dostoevsky in the streets or something. I was just like,
Dostoevsky.
I don't know what. It was some like in the streets in the sheet with like some fucking like, and I was just
brutally like you're trying way too hard here.
That's like a hard no for me.
If you're cool and cute, you've got a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So if we named 3, let's say, bullet points, one would be cute, obviously comes from the physical.
Cute.
Second would be non-douchebag description.
Yes. Yeah.
I also don't like it when people write not interested in one night stands. And I'm like, if I reached out to you and said, I'd like to have sex with you in an hour, I'm pretty sure you'd do it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, but I find this is something that is, I think, particular to gay online dating, that there is a lot, can be very clear, particularly on Grindr, where it's about hooking up, about in their thing, they'll be like, not into this, not into that. It can be racial, like not into Asians, not into white guys. So
people actually write that?
Oh, fuck yes.
Okay, I did not know.
Not into feminine guys. That. Not into a big thing on like on hookup apps is mask for mask. Like any gay guy will tell you about this. The guys will be like, I'm mask for mask. Meaning
what does that mean?
It means I'm like a masculine guy and I only want to date other masculine guys.
Mask.
Yeah. Mask
so
for
like
mask.
bear and bear kind of thing? Like I don't know.
No, not necessarily a bear, but
like what would that entail, mask for mask?
It's just a way of them being like, I'm not interested in dating fruitcakes. In which case I'm like, sorry, because
so you're out.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, you wouldn't like me anyways. I mean, so
I wouldn't classify you as fruitcake.
Well, believe me, girl, I have my moments. And I don't ever want to like believe me, I spent fucking like all of my teenage years trying to mitigate that sort of thing about myself. I'm never ever doing it again.
No, of course not.
So that kind of like harsh criteria I just also find annoying and indicative of like a fucking shallow person.
Yeah.
And if guys are too, if their profiles are too, like, if it's just too much, like, the gym, fitness, fucking cycling, like, fuck, if one more person's like, I'm really into cycling, I'm just like...
And I'm really into smoking, so maybe we can hang out together. I'll smoke as you bike.
Like, I don't cycle in Toronto. Are you nuts? With the fucking streetcar tracks everywhere?
No. What, you want to die?
Everybody I know that cycles has either, like, broken a fucking... some limb, or they've had their bike stolen like 5 times. And just like, get a new hobby. Anyways, so
hiking and biking only. Okay, not for me then.
And I like to hike and I like to camp and stuff, but I feel like it's a lot of guys.
What do you put in your profile? What's your do you have a strategy, or do you literally just straightforward be like, hey,
my OkCupid profile, which you write a whole thing about, is I literally just it was blank for so long because I just felt like such a fucking twat no matter what.
Because you've seen so many idiotic, I was like,
how
bullshit.
Do I not like marketing myself in this like weird, but I'm trying to be.
I hate that we feel like we have to sell ourselves a little bit, because that's the initial that's going to get you to yay or nay.
Yeah. Yeah. So one night I just like kind of stream of consciousness wrote the whole thing in like 20 minutes and was just like, post. I'm not thinking about it anymore. So it's
like,
just
ding, ding,
yeah.
ding,
So there's
ding,
some
ding.
jokes in it, and but it's it's
pretty
like list the 6 things you could never live without, and just like my friends, my family. I don't know. I threw my piano in there. I want you all to know that I play the piano. It's like,
what do you?
But I just, it's something to latch onto, and like, what are you really good at? I was like putting up shelves,
friends and family. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I don't know. So I just, didn't think too much about it, and
I like
just
it.
tried not to sound like a douchebag, and that's my general approach.
I guess since we've been talking for an hour now, I guess we should wrap up.
Oh, it was so fun,
but
though.
Here's the thing. Will you come back?
Sure.
Because I really like on this show to have reoccurring guests to build, just so that like our guys can know you.
Sure.
And I honestly think that like you've brought a lot of informative aspects to a lot of it, because every single person I've had on has been different.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to go on some more dates and come back and tell us about the things that happened on them.
Your favorite was the anecdote, wasn't it? I gotta go.
I gotta go. Anyways, cheers to coming on. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll have him again soon, hopefully. Yay. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
We like to drink.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Follow us on Instagram. The Swipe Effect is our handle, all one word. A couple of you guys, of course, have emailed with some really hilarious stories as well. We've already had them on, so like keep sending us your weird shit. We love it. theswipeeffect@gmail.com, all one word. And from there, like I want to bring you on and come and talk to us and come do the same thing that Chris and I got to do for an hour.
It's a very safe environment.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous to start. I was nervous.
We have a great time.
Yeah. It was
and we like to drink.
But you don't have to.
But you don't have to. We did establish that it's not a prerequisite. And we'd love to have you on. So come to the next.